So as a minor little disclaimer, this video was recorded over, I made this video over a series of like a couple months, so some of the audio quality is there's like different, the audio quality is not consistent throughout the whole video. Um, I don't really know why I made this disclaimer. I, for one, don't care, but other YouTubers do it, so I'm gonna do it too. Okay, enjoy the Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the history of Five Nights at Freddy's. Last time we...
Ahoy there, matey!
Foxy, what are you doing here?
Well, to be part of the video. You can't have a Five Nights at Freddy's video without something FNAF in it.
Actually, I can.
Look, I know you're disappointed with my size. Amazon made me look a lot bigger than I actually was. Just let me be useful again.
Alright.
Ah, sweet! Awesome! There be no spot to sit.
I'm not gonna hold you, bro.
Well, where am I
No,
supposed to
just-
go?
You can go right there. How about that?
Fine.
Yeah. Last time we covered the very first Five Nights at Freddy's game, what inspired Scott to make it, and how it became so successful. Okay, that's better. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the next two installments in the original Five Nights at Freddy's trilogy, which would be Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and 3. This is the history of Five Nights at Freddy's Part 2. Unlike the first game, which wasn't very well known during development, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was a completely different story. It was a hype machine. First of all, there were the various teasers showing off the new animatronics, with some being old and beaten up, while others were newer, sleeker looking, which the fan base nicknamed the 2.0s at the time. There were also other teasers that showed off gameplay mechanics such as the wearable mask, or this teaser right here, which was in the first of many teasers where you had to brighten up the image to reveal something hidden. In this case, it was a brand new animatronic called the Puppet, which would become a very important character in the series. There was just so much buzz around Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and the game wasn't even out yet it was already immensely popular. And luckily, fans wouldn't even have to wait that long for it to come out. The game was originally set to release somewhere in early 2015. However, Scott decided to release it early on November the 11th, 2014. Just 3 months after the first game. Your goal is the same as the first game. Make it till 6 AM for a total of 5 However, the game is twice as hard, for a variety of reasons. First of all, you now have double the amount of animatronics to deal with. There's the new toy animatronics, which, ooh la la la, that's a tasty chicken right there. That's a joke, by the way. I don't think. And the Wither animatronics, which were from the very first Freddy Fazbear's. More on that later. There's also a broken toy Foxy called the Mango, who sort of became this take apart, put back together attraction for toddlers. You have 3 ways for the animatronics to get to you. 2 vents on your left and right, and a hallway in front of you. While the cameras make a return, you have a flashlight instead of door lights, and your doors are taken from you. Instead, you have a spare Freddy mask, which, when worn, tricks the animatronics into thinking you're one of them, and causes them to leave. Now you might be asking, what's stopping you from just putting this mask on for the whole night? Well, say hello to the Puppet! Again. The Puppet stays in a music box on Cam 11 that must be wound up because, you see, the Puppet isn't fooled by the mask, so if you let him out, you're basically dead. Wither Foxy also doesn't get fooled by the mask, and must be kept at bay by the flashlight if you see him in the hallway. Speaking of your flashlight, another animatronic to watch out for is Balloon Boy, who instead of jump scaring you, he will take your flashlight batteries, creating a sort of duo between Balloon Boy and Foxy. Unlike the first game, which was mainly about resource management, Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is much more about time management. You have to be at the right place at the right time in order to put on the mask, shine a flashlight, or wind up the music box. If you misuse your time at all, you're gonna die. All this combined creates a very chaotic experience, which is apparently what Scott was wanting from this game, so he definitely succeeded. Just like the last game, there are 3 stars in total to get, and the way to get them is exactly the same. First star is gained by making it through the 5 nights, second star is by beating the 6th night, and the third is by completing the Golden Freddy mode in the custom night. All animatronics on max difficulty. The custom night also has a set of other challenges you can complete, such as the original 420 mode, Ladies Night, Freddy's Circus, Cupcake Challenge, and more. None of these challenges get you any stars, but they are nice challenges nonetheless, and you do get some office decorations for beating them, so there's that. Alright, buckle up, because from this point forward, the lore gets deep. I'm going to quickly summarize the main story so that way we can get into the meat of it all. You play as Jeremy Fitzgerald, working the night shift at the grand reopening of Freddy's. Everything here is new and improved, and the animatronics have been given facial recognition, as well as a criminal database. However, after an investigation is made on the restaurant, the place is put on lockdown after a birthday party is hosted on Sunday. It's only revealed on night 6 that an employee used the Golden Freddy suit to lure some children into parts and service.
What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down, at least for a while. Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it. Now none of them are acting right.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg. For starters, this game is actually a prequel to the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. This is due to a couple of reasons, like how the phone guy is still alive in this game, despite him clearly dying in the 4th game, or how the animatronics are able to roam around during the day, meaning that the bite of 87 hasn't happened yet. Speaking of that, once you receive your paycheck, it is revealed that the date is 1987. The year of the bite.
What?
But then, what came before it? Through the phone calls, we are told of 2 pre-existing locations. A pizzeria that was left to rot, which is where the withered animatronics came from, and Fredbear's Family Diner, which belonged to a previous owner. Alright, let's take a breather and talk about some secrets. Similar to the first, the chances you'll be able to see some hallucinations and rare screens like the puppet in the main hall camera, Foxy standing up in parts and service, or one of the paper pals being moved to your office. There are also many secret animatronics that have an extremely rare chance of showing up. First, there's the endoskeleton that can appear at the prize corner and the right vent. While he doesn't do much, including not being able to kill you, when he's in the vent, he actually blocks the other animatronics from getting in, making him somewhat of an ally to you. Then there's the Shadow animatronics, Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie. Shadow Freddy can only ever be seen slumped over in parts and service, and if you look at him for too long, then your game crashes. Shadow Bonnie, or RWQF, works similarly and can be found in your office. If you look at him for too long, he crashes your game. There's also JJ, who's just chilling under there. Got anything else to say about that, Foxy?
Oh, you're finally asking me a question. Oh, I'm so delighted. I've been waiting for you to say that.
Just like in the first game, there's a chance that if you load up the game, start a night, or die, that you'll get one of these death screens displaying one of the animatronics without any eyes. I wouldn't say they're as creepy as the FNAF 1 death screens, but they're still unsettling. Something that I completely forgot about until researching this video are the cutscenes in between the nights where you are Freddy on stage looking out at the dining area. During these cutscenes, you're able to move Freddy's head left or right, and things would happen, like Bonnie and Chica turning to look at you, the puppet showing up, and even Golden Freddy showing up too. They also have this atmosphere that almost sounds like something laughing in the background. However, the most important secrets lore-wise are the death minigames. When you die, you have a chance of being able to play one of 4 Atari-style minigames that range from taking cake to children, giving presents to dead kids, to being able to walk around in the FNAF 2 location, all while slow, distorted voice spells out phrases like save them and help them. Each of these minigames shows a little bit of lore, like how the puppet is the one who actually gave life to the animatronics, or the introduction to this main series' killer, which the fanbase named Purple Guy. We'll get into more detail about some of these minigames once we start talking about fan theories, but wow, what an incredible way to tell this game's story. They're so encrypted, unsettling, and as far as I know, one of the first video games to ever try and present their story like this. It's amazing. But now, let's get into FNAF 3. Just like with FNAF 2, the build to FNAF 3 was a hype machine. Especially in the fact that this was going to be the finale to the series, and so people expected it to go out with a bang. After the release of FNAF 2, Scott updated his website to offline. Then it was updated again to I'm Still Here, which revealed a new animatronic, which the fans thought was Fredbear if you mirrored the image. From there, more teasers would show off the new animatronics and map, leading to some new theories that this new animatronic was actually some kind of amalgamation of all the previous animatronics, nicknaming it Salvage. Then the trailer came out, and with it, many theories dissecting everything in this trailer. Like, for example, how Springtrap was actually going to be an amalgamation of all the different Bonnies. Speaking of Springtrap, you're probably wondering where I just got that name from. Well, on February the 15th, 2015, Scott made a post that was seemingly just a normal post about the beta testing for the game. However, some letters were doubled, and if you were to put them all together, you would get the sentence, "My name is Springtrap." That was just really cool, Scott. Then, just a couple of weeks later, the game was released once again ahead of schedule. Just kidding. So, during the hype of FNAF 3, Scott decided to troll the community by pretending that his account got hacked by someone, who then ended up releasing an early copy of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. However, once you download it and start playing it, it turns out to just be a reskin of one of his older games, There Is No Pause Button, just with a Freddy head on top of the character and with the troll music playing in the background. The music since then has been unfortunately changed due to copyright, but man, I would have loved to see people's reactions to this back then. This would have been absolutely hilarious. The game came out for real though on March the 2nd, 2015. Perhaps the most unique aspect of the gameplay are the brand new use of the cameras. With the other games, the cams didn't really serve a purpose outside of checking on specific characters, like the Foxy cam from FNAF 1 or the Puppet cam from FNAF 2. But with FNAF 3, you have to use the cams to keep track of Springtrap so that he doesn't get into your office. Your other ways of defense are an audio lure that can, well, lure Springtrap into a room, and whenever he's in the vents, you can block him closing off the vent that he's in. However, there's one setback. Most of the technology that you're using is extremely old and breaks down frequently. This is where your maintenance panel comes in. Whenever one of your systems breaks down, you'll have to reboot it manually using the maintenance panel, taking precious time from looking and monitoring Springtrap. The other characters make appearances in the forms of phantoms. While they can't kill you, they can still draw your attention from watching Springtrap by sabotaging your systems, making horrible noises, getting right in your face, and jump scaring you over and over again. This is unfortunately a setback whenever it comes to the horror of this game, because these phantom animatronics are constantly jump scaring you and just making your night so inconvenient that by the time that you actually die, it's just like, oh. In Final Fantasy Freddy's 3, there are a total of 4 stars that you can unlock. The first one is by beating Night 5, and the second is by beating Night 6. The next two are a little bit more different, as in order to get the third star, you need to beat Night 5 with the good ending unlocked. More on that later. As for getting the 4th star, you need to go into the extras menu and activate aggressive mode and beat Night 6. Speaking of the extras menu, this is the first FNAF game to have an extras menu. This showed off things like the animatronics, their jump scares, access to the minigames, which we'll get into later, and cheats such as making the hours go by faster and having a radar to see where Springtrap is. Sadly though, this is also the first FNAF game to not feature a custom night. Okay, so I know I just got done talking your head off about FNAF 2's secrets and lore, so I'm mainly just going to talk about the premise and the 2 endings. Okay, so it's 30 years after the events of the first game, and the incidents surrounding Freddy's have become urban legends. This gives some guys the idea to create a horror attraction around these rumors called Fazbear's Fright, and surprise surprise, you work as a security guard there. This game introduces a new phone guy, whom the fanbase nicknamed the Phone Dude. The attraction opens in about a week, but they still haven't found any animatronics. That is, until you hear Phone Dude's call on night 2, where he says that they found a real one. And just like that, Springtrap is now free to roam the building. That is until night 6, when the attraction is burned down to the ground with Springtrap inside. However, it would seem that he was able to survive the fire. As the nights go on, Phone Dude's calls are instead replaced with employee training tapes for Fazbear employees. These tapes talk about these suits called Springlock suits, which double as animatronics and mascot costumes. They use a technology called Springlocks, which can be used to wind up the endo pieces to where the costumes can be wearable by people. However, there's a downside to it. The Springlocks are very sensitive and can easily go off by just a little bit of moisture. Alright, so first of all, there's more than one ending to this game. After beating each night, you end up getting to play as one of the animatronics in another Atari-styled minigame. This time, you are told by Shadow Freddy to follow him. Doing so then causes you to get dismantled by the purple guy. Rinse and repeat for 3 more nights, and you then get to play the final minigame, where you play as one of the spirits of the dead kids. You then corner Purple Guy in the back room, who then tries to use the Spring Bonnie costume. However, the costume goes off while he's wearing it because of the leaky ceiling, causing him to then get crushed. It is at this point that it is revealed that Purple Guy and Springtrap are one and the same. Doing this then gives you the bad ending for some reason. As for getting the good ending, you need to unlock a series of hidden minigames by clicking on posters, cupcakes, and wall tiles for some reason. Once you get into these minigames, you could either beat them normally and return back to the night, or you could glitch them out and give cake to some hidden children. Once you beat all the minigames this way, you unlock the Happiest Day minigame, where you play as the spirit of the puppet, setting the spirits free and getting the good ending. Once again, the storytelling is excellent, despite there being a couple of annoying things. As for secrets, there really isn't a whole lot to talk about. There's this secret bear animatronic, which could either be some kind of phantom golden Freddy or something, or it could be Shadow Freddy. And this Freddy poster can occasionally change to a Spring Bonnie poster. The Bonnie paper pal has a chance of spawning in your office. And the death screens, this time showing Springtrap slowly opening his mask to reveal his zombified face. Also, can I just say how amazing the tracks are? The good and bad ending songs, as well as the Shadow Bonnie song, are some of my favorite tracks in the entire franchise, and they pull all sorts of heartstrings. Okay, I'm recording this after I've recorded everything else, and the reason why is because I wanted to make this quick section to talk a little more about Springtrap, being the fact that he's kind of the main, he's the main animatronic of Five Nights at Freddy's 3. First of all, the concept alone is already very cool, scary, interesting. Just being this mixture of this animatronic zombie hybrid is just such a cool character concept, and the design of Springtrap is so good. Being this moldy looking rabbit with a corpse inside of it. Not to mention that the animatronic suit itself is a much more human looking costume compared to the other Bonnie suits that we've seen before. What sets Springtrap apart from all the other animatronics is that he's kind of the polar opposite of the other animatronics. Instead of being this dead, lifeless animatronic, Springtrap is giving almost too much life, too much personality. You can see the twisted evilness just in his smile alone. Late 2014 to early 2015 was a great time to be a FNAF fan. With every video talking about these games, FNAF got more and more popular, and in return, the YouTubers who covered it got more and more popular too. YouTubers such as Garrett Williamson and Smike were pretty small YouTubers until they started making videos on FNAF. After that, their channels exploded. As for fan content, videos like the How to Make Five Nights at Freddy's Not Scary series, Fazbear and Friends, the 5 AM at Freddy's series, and more would go down as some of the most iconic FNAF videos ever. On the music side of things, Lemmy Tombstone produced their Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and 3 songs, which once again were big bangers. But there were also some other musicians who played their hands into some Five Nights at Freddy's music. There was DA Games, who made It's Time to Die and the Purple Guy song. Tryhard Ninja, who made It's Me, Just an Attraction, Follow Me, and the Puppet song. And Mando Pony, who's become a controversial figure in the past couple of years. However, back then, he made some hits like Survive the Night, The Show Must Go On, Just Gold, Balloons, and Noticed. And most of these music videos surpassed millions of views. Alright, next are the fan games, but first I want to make some corrections from my last video on this series. First of all, the games that I mentioned, which were Five Nights at Treasure Islands, Five Nights at Wario's, and Five Nights at Chuck E. Cheese, didn't actually come out until after FNAF 2, so I shouldn't even have mentioned them in my last video. But also, it was kind of wrong of me to just say that they were cash grabs, but in actuality, they were probably just passion products. Since, as of right now, these games are all free to download on GameJolt. So, next time I gotta research things before I just assume stuff. Alright then. This was a time when some of the most iconic FNAF fan games came out. Treasure Island was one of them, but there was also Five Nights at Candy's, Pop Goes, One Night at Flumpty's, and Five Nights at Freddy's 3. No, wait, that can't be right. Yeah, so someone by the name of Tyler actually decided to make a fake Five Nights at Freddy's 3 game in the hype of its release. And that got a lot of people mad. And it even got the attention of Scott himself, who permitted him to change the name of the game, otherwise it would be taken down. Tyler then agreed and renamed it The Return to Freddy's, which has spawned its own series. There were also quite a few more hoaxes this time around. Like, for example, there were quite a few fake animatronics, such as there being a purple guy animatronic or a golden toy Freddy animatronic in FNAF 2. There were fake teasers of FNAF 3. One of the most popular being under the name of Freddyland, implying that FNAF 3 was going to take place in an amusement park. And there was a hoax that there was a secret Phantom Bonnie animatronic from Five Nights at Freddy's 3. After this, though, the hoaxes kind of died down for the series. Oh yeah, did I also mention there was going to be a FNAF movie? Just insane. But then there are the theories. Oh my gosh, there are so many theories! First, there was the continuous debate of the Bite of 87. Well, most people assumed that it was the Night Guard you play as, Jeremy Fitzgerald. People were still hung up over who could have caused the bite. Freddy, Foxy, and Golden Freddy were all still up on the table, but people also thought it could have been the new Mango animatronic, since her jump scare has her aiming for your head, while others thought it could have been the mysterious Shadow animatronics. Let's go back to those Shadow animatronics. Who were they? Yee-bomb. Foxy, that doesn't even make any sense. Well, theories range from them being random lost souls to shadowy ghosts of Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, the original animatronics of Fredbears, to them being the ghosts of employees who died in the Springlock suits from FNAF 3. To this day, we're still not quite sure what they are. As for the minigames, people theorized that this minigame took place at Fredbear's Family Diner, making this the first death in the series. People even went as far as to say that this would be the spirit to possess the puppet. Then, MatPat's game theory came out, which had him trying to make a timeline of events in the series. Something that actually makes sense. He was the one to popularize the theory that the purple guy was actually the phone guy. Honestly, if I saw this back in 2015, I would have believed it. As for his FNAF 3 video, or videos, he set out to show a complete timeline and answer all unanswered questions. And I think he did a pretty good job. He proposed that the bad ending was canon. Purple Guy used the Spring Bonnie suit to lure the 5 kids. Golden Freddy and the puppet were in the FNAF 1 kitchen. The FNAF 1 location was the location that was left to rot, and that the puppet was the one pulling all the strings. He was the one who stuffed the bodies of the kids in the suits and gave them life. He sent them on a mission to kill Purple Guy, and was the one who set Fazbear's Fright to flames. I think. I might have to double check on that one. Wow. Just wow. What a time to be alive. A lot of FNAF fans say that this was the time when FNAF was in its prime. And I can definitely agree with that. While I think the best of the FNAF games was yet to come, this part of FNAF's history was just so iconic. Some of the best games, the best fan content, and the best moments of this franchise happened here. And while I wasn't part of the community back then, I can look back at this time and have some sort of nostalgia for it. But as most of you all know, this is not where the story of FNAF ended, as in the next couple of months, another Five Nights at Freddy's game will release. This one would be set out to be the scariest of them all. But that's gonna do it for now, though. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I have. If you did, be sure to like, comment, maybe even subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But this was a random video that I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.